Hello, my name is Linda and I'm a property investor. I'm here with Louise, a property venture, to better understand how to get a bargain in the current climate in Spain, but with all the problems, just to know that it is a secure bargain.
I think that probably the best way of explaining that is how I've helped someone recently. There are a lot of people out there who seem to think that they can get their ideal property on a Costa at an absolute bargain price, and some of those are possible, but it depends on how much someone's willing to flex their specification. So, for example, I had a buyer who wanted, it was very specific about what he wanted. He wanted a 3-bed, 3-bath, detached villa with a pool, with year-round sunshine, for €250,000 and 100% finance. So I sourced and suggested a number of properties to him, some of which were bank repossessions, some of which were resale properties. And through the whole process of talking him through and understanding his priorities, he gradually changed what he was after, and the 100% finance became less of an issue for him. So he then started to look much more for a bargain priced property, which he saw that he was going to best get on the resale market. So the issue for him was he had a very specific need. And sometimes the bargains that are out there don't always match up to what a buyer is looking for. But there would still have been a solid purchase there for him. But it took a while for him to understand and to get the right thing for him.
Okay. But if I was interested in 100% finance, 100% mortgage, where would I get that from?
There's usually two main routes. So there's the bank repossession. So banks will tend to offer finance along with a property that they are selling, and they will have acquired that property either from a developer who hasn't been able to complete on a development, and the bank has already lent them money on it, and they brought that back into the bank, or if it's been an individual homeowner who hasn't been able to pay their mortgage, again they will have repossessed that. So those mortgages would tend to come from a bank when they're selling properties on their books, or from a developer who has got finance from a bank, and the bank has given the mortgage for the development to be built. And in the past, the banks have been happy to transfer that mortgage from the developer to the individual. So some of that's changed a little bit, but usually there's those two routes, through the bank or via a developer, to get those decent mortgages.
But with 100% finance, is that not one of the reasons that Spain is in the position it's in now? How safe would it be?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, the whole thing with 100% finance has caused problems, and one could argue it's been a key driver of the credit crunch in a number of countries around the world. I think it's important for someone to think very carefully about why they want 100% mortgage. If it's because they don't think they can afford to put any money in, or they can't afford to do it any other way, then that should ring some serious alarm bells. But for some people, it's a way of mitigating risk. For example, this gentleman that I was helping, one of the things for him was concern about the currency, and making sure that he would be getting his income in the same currency he had his mortgage in. So for him it was about a risk mitigation factor rather than an affordability factor. So there can be good reasons for doing it, but a buyer really needs to be quite clear on that, and shouldn't necessarily be using it as a surrogate for their own money if they can't really afford to be buying.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think with your advice, whether or not I did decide to go with 100% finance, I think you're best placed to show the pitfalls. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, if someone wants to find out a little bit more about top tips and finance and what's happening with the banks in Spain, there's a link to sign up to my free newsletter, and there I offer top tips on buying in Spain and other countries, and any hot property deals that are up and coming. So that would be a good thing to do as well. And for you, if you want to keep in touch and understand what's happening in Spain.
That sounds great.